Hi, I'm Amy from Sewing School, and I'm here to help you learn some basics of hand sewing. Hi, I'm Amy from Sewing School, and I wanted to show you some of my favorite tricks for getting started sewing. So the first thing you're going to need is some good thread. And I like to use either craft thread that comes on little skeins like this, or lately I've been using pearl cotton, which I really like, and it comes in these little balls. So either thread you use, you want to start with an arm's length. It doesn't matter how big or how small your project is, you always want to measure an arm's length of thread. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to put it out and I'm going to start hanging, pull, 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 till it reaches my arm, all right, and then I'm just going to put it down, and then I'm just going to cut it off right there. And when I do that, I always have the perfect length of thread. Now I can get sewing, and it's time for me to thread my needle. So I have my thread, I have my needle threader. I'm using a Loran needle threader for big eye needles, and this is my absolute favorite needle threader. It has totally changed my sewing life, and I'm using a Chanel number 22 needle, and I like these needles because they're sharp at the end, they have a good point, but they also have a big eye, so it makes it really easy to thread. So to thread your needle, what you're going to do is you're going to have your hook, and you're going to put it through the eye of your needle, and then you're just going to kind of like let it hang onto the little neck there. Then you're going to loop one end of your thread over, and you're not touching your thread at this point. You're going to grab a hold of your needle and just pull it off, and just kind of keep pulling until there's only one thread onto the needle. And then now your needle is threaded, but you need to tie a knot at the end. So to tie a knot, what I like to do is I make a loop around my finger, and then I kind of just poke the little tail through and pull. And this might take some practice making your own knots, but if you keep practicing, you will start doing, you'll be able to do it in no time. Now I am ready to get sewing, so I'm going to show you my two favorite stitches, the whip stitch and the running stitch. So I have my needle threaded and ready to go, and I have two pieces of felt that I'm going to sew together. And the two main stitches that you'll want to know how to do is a running stitch, which is like the up and down stitch that looks kind of like a little dotted line, and then the whip stitch that kind of holds two pieces together around the edges. Both are super helpful when you're making crafts. So you always want to start by poking up, and the tip is when you pull your needle through, move your fingers to where the thread and the eye of the needle are, and pinch it. And I call this pinching your needle. So you're going to pinch your needle, and then you're going to pull, 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 pull until you hit that knot in the back. Okay? And then to make your running stitch, you'll just go straight down, pull out, grab that eye again, and pull, and then you're going to go up. So it's up and down, up and down, up and down. All right? And you'll just you can keep doing that. You want to make your stitches about the size of your fingernail. Okay, you can't, some people like to make itty bitty stitches, which is great because nothing's going to fall out, but it does take a really long time. However, if I made a really big stitch, like this big of a stitch, what would happen is if I went to stuff this project or put things in it, it would poke out. So it's really good to have about the size of your fingernail, and that kind of holds it together. Now the other stitch I want to show you is the whip stitch. And for a whip stitch, you're going to enter from the back and pull, and then you're only going to be sewing up, okay? And your stitches are actually going to whip around the edge of your fabric. So here I am, and now I'm going to poke up, I'm grabbing my eye and pulling up, and there's a whip stitch. I'm grabbing, pulling, pushing up, grabbing my eye, and there's another one. Okay, and these also I'm going to go about a fingernail width apart. Okay, and you can keep going along. I really like this one for it gives it a really nice edge. it also holds in things really well, especially if I'm making a bag or if I'm making a stuffy. This is the kind of stitch I like to use to close it off with. You can also use this stitch in something called applique, where you're attaching like eyeballs to something. This is a really good one. So both stitches are super useful. What you'll want to be doing as you're sewing is kind of keep pulling out this tail until it's all the way done. And when you get finished, okay, like let's say I wanted to knot off now, you have two options. One is you can kind of loop your needle around your thread and you can make a knot. The other one that you can do is, if knot making is tricky for you, which can be for young and new sewers, what you can do is you can go back through that last stitch that you did 2 times. And I pick up just a little bit of those threads if I can. I'm trying not to go back, and then pull really tight, and then you just clip it close. And you have made the whip stitch and the running stitch. Don't make stitches like that though, too big. All right, happy sewing.